President, I think we have two conflicting viewpoints here. Pakistani senior intelligence official I've spoken to has made it clear that there were Pakistani intelligence operatives on the ground during this operation, which seemed, to be honest, to be the other side of the coin, completely conflict with what our sources are hearing in Washington. I think it's obvious why the Pakistanis would want to show they were involved in this. That's to preempt accusations of collusion that perhaps some part of the Pakistani intelligence establishment, which is pretty all-pervasive, frankly, in Pakistan, may have known that Bin Laden had been hiding there for a long time. I think it's also interesting to point out where this compound appears to have been based, in a big, bustling Pakistani city. Now, just bear in mind that a lot of the recent Taliban activity has been in the southern city of Karachi. It seems as though the Taliban have been moving away from those tribal areas where the drone strikes can easily pick them off, and have been very successful of late, if you speak to some American officials, been moving to larger cities so they can hide in the bustling population. So hearing that Bin Laden was not in Karachi, the kind of hub of the Taliban, but in another bustling city, hiding somewhere else, that's not enormously surprising. But I think we're going to see, really, the Pakistanis having to explain how they were involved in this operation in the coming hours. It would, to me, be enormously surprising, given the sheer breakdown of trust in the last few months between Washington and Islamabad, given what they've been saying to each other about drone strikes, about intelligence cooperation here, which apparently had been on hold for quite some time, we shouldn't forget, according to a senior Pakistani official I've spoken to, that it would have been remarkably strange for the Americans the full scope of this hit, this operation with them prior to launching it, Wolf.
You know, Nick, a lot of Americans will now say, mission accomplished. Bin Laden is dead. It's time to pull out of Afghanistan. The United States, as you know, has 100,000 troops in Afghanistan. The troops are scheduled to start withdrawing, at least on a modest level, later this year, this summer. All those troops are supposed to be out by the end of 2014. But I suspect, given the death of Bin Laden, a lot of Americans say, well, it's time to leave and move on. Have Afghan officials expressed any concern to you that maybe the appetite for a prolonged U.S. military stay in Afghanistan may be going away?
I think they were already concerned before this, frankly. I do think there's part of the Karzai administration here that does not want to see hear a rushing sound, as a sucking sound, as the American forces pull away from here in the next coming years. We haven't spoken to them today, but I can definitely say there'll be two narratives from this. The first one will be with Bin Laden dead, the Al-Qaeda threat is, the story of that, as it were, has come to an end. So yes, as you say, we can begin to start drawing down here, but that leaves the whole nation-building question unanswered. And obviously the reason why Afghanistan became a haven for Al-Qaeda in the first place was because it was a failed state under the Taliban. So there'll be an alternative narrative in this too, saying that we need to stay here, finish the job, and be sure that the new Al-Qaeda, if one emerges after Bin Laden's death, perhaps a regenerated or a different generation of leaders maybe, that they don't seek to come back here and use Afghanistan as a base to launch attacks on the US.